Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, which is titled, Why the Future of Lab Informatics is SaaS 2.0. Is your lab's data a launch pad rocketing you towards new discoveries, or is it a massive rusty anchor just weighing you down? My name is Stephen Carey. I'm Sales Manager for Australia and New Zealand for LabVantage. Labs all over the world face this invisible force that's holding them back from incredible science. And it's not a lack of brilliant minds or a shortage of funding. It's IT debt. They want to get to the AI-powered future, but the pathway isn't clear. In this webinar, I hope to map out that exact pathway. Alright, this is the game plan. First, we're going to talk about the innovation dilemma, and then islands of information, data silos. Third, we'll pivot into the solution and building a foundation. Fourth, we'll talk about a uniform SaaS platform. Fifth, we'll talk about the modernization roadmap. And sixth, the future payoff for becoming AI ready. Okay, let's dive in. At the heart of pretty much every modern laboratory, there's a fundamental conflict. The innovation dilemma. It's a constant tug of war between the great daily grind of managing IT and the actual goal and purpose, scientific innovation and progress. I mean, just look at these scales. We're talking servers, security patches, endless upgrades, the crushing weight of managing these systems is taking away the passion for innovation and science. These brilliant people want to make discoveries, treat patients, release product, but instead they're spending way too much time being part-time IT managers. If a business wants to maximize the value of their LIMS platform, they must reevaluate how it's managed and who manages it. Okay, next is the islands of information. Before we can move forward, we really have to get a handle on what's holding us back. What does this IT burden actually look like and do to the day's work of a normal laboratory? It's what we call the legacy trap. The Excel spreadsheet, we've all been there, right? It feels like the center of the universe for so many labs, but its reality is a trap. Every single file becomes its own little island, a data silo completely cut off from everything. Innovation just dies in this environment. This is what we call the friction map. And you can see three huge problems. Number one, no scale. You've got no scale. I mean, manual data entry is always going to be a bottleneck. And let's be honest, that's going to lead to human error as well. Secondly, you don't have visibility. The insights from a bunch of different siloed pieces of data aren't going to correlate for different experiments. And the data across the experiments, forget about it, it's lost. Finally, there's no foundation. All of this raw, unstructured data is basically useless to a modern analytical tool that could give you the answers you're looking for. but it's even worse than that. Let's look at the current landscape. You've got these bottlenecks. The lab collecting vast amounts of data. The field people and personnel also collecting data and trying to communicate it with the lab. And then there's the people trying to analyze that data and use it to make decisions in the office. So we've got siloed data, risk of transcription errors, a resource drain of scientists spending their time on low value data entry, and a very limited visibility of the information. So from the benchtop to the boardroom, your most valuable resource is missing. On the other side of the coin is the on-premise anchor. And what I mean by that is, if spreadsheets are the trap, then your local servers are a dead weight. They lock you in to a never-ending and exhausting cycle of upgrades and maintenance and playing catch-up, like we mentioned in the earlier slide. And this is what it boils down to. Your team of brilliant scientists aren't really very good at being IT managers. On a side note, software delayed updates. I once worked for a company that promised a version update. I think it was going to be from V8 to V9 in 6 months' time. After 3 years of apologizing to my customers for yet another delay, I left the business. I'm not even sure if they have it now. But we've laid out the problem. Now let's see what we can do. All of this makes the promise of AI feel completely out of reach. And that's the critical point. That context trap. It's a massive chasm between where you might currently be and what your vision of the future is. Everyone's talking about it, but you just can't make that leap. You need to be able to follow the data. And to make that business case, the justification for modernizing LIMS is a SaaS transformation from isolated data islands and silos to a strategic enterprise-wide digital asset. Trying to make that jump is the number one reason that AI projects just completely fall flat. It's because there's no way of knowing how the result of one experiment will relate to another. The AI algorithm can't think without context. If all the data is disconnected, that contextual foundation is not only huge, but scary. Now we know there's a gap, so what's the solution? How do we fill this gap? LabVantage would like to introduce the safe bridge forward that gets us from today's chaos into a much more structured future. This bridge is the modern platform we're calling SaaS 2.0. The whole point is that it's not a risky rip and replace IT overhaul, but it's a stabilizing foundation, a secure, scalable system that connects your lab present to the future and all the best up-to-date information. When you look at this side table, you can see the legacy and the future. The legacy reality is maintenance, perpetual IT hassle. The SaaS solution is a zero-touch maintenance plan. The legacy reality is that your currency, your product is stagnant or decaying, where a SaaS product is perpetually upgraded. The ecosystem in a legacy system is fragmented silos. In a SaaS, it's a uniformed LIMS, electronic laboratory notebook, a laboratory execution system. Moving into one unified ecosystem where the systems all work together. Building on the foundation. So now you've seen the bridge, it sounds great, but how do you actually cross it? Well, you do it with a clear and deliberate plan. It's about a real strategic shift, about a foundation-first strategy. It's about building a completely new, future-ready foundation from the ground up. Okay, this slide basically says it all right here for strategy. Everyone wants to jump to the cool stuff, the agentic, contextual, cortex program. But you can't build a skyscraper from the top down, right? You have to start with the bedrock first, the essential layer, which is our SaaS 2.0. The enterprise architecture, which is validated, secure, and compliance ready. The foundation strategy starts with SaaS 2.0, and it's where you absolutely have to secure your data today to be ready for AI of tomorrow. Let's break it down. This blueprint gives you a three-phase way of getting there. Step one is all about securing the foundation right. Step two, the semantic layer, is giving meaning to your data. And step three is the agentic AI, which we call Cortex, which enables the autonomous use of your limbs. We are delivering Enterprise SaaS 2.0 so you can move forward onto agentic AI on your terms when you're ready. SaaS 2.0 has got unprecedented configurability, transfers the responsibility of all of your IT, infrastructure, maintenance, and software updates to us, and gives you a uniform platform that natively integrates with all of the systems in your laboratory, eliminating the disparate digital systems you might have and the data silos you definitely have. And for this semantic layer, what on earth is that? To keep it simple, what semantic layers do is they transform this information and give it context and standardize the format and links everything together for meaning to be given out from your AI. The most important takeaway here is not my stutter, but it's not a giant leap of faith. The AI-powered LabVantage Cortex is the future. It's ready now, but it's on your terms. You can get the biggest efficiency just by taking this Enterprise SaaS 2.0 as a smart strategic decision today. Build the foundation, get huge value instantly, and on the way, you're setting yourself up for the choices in AI into the future. All right, we've spoken a little bit about the uniform SaaS platform, so let's have a deeper dive. And you can think about this like a LIMS or on-prem LIMS or your Excel spreadsheets are a bit like a power drill. Useful, sure, but it's just one tool. With SaaS 2.0, you've got a subscription to a whole professional workshop, and all of the tools work perfectly together, and they're always charged or up to date. The entire system, your workshop, is built to handle the most complex programs and projects that you can throw at it, including AI. And here's the best part. This foundational step just demolishes all of that technical debt that we've talked about. You've got your security and your compliance all handled. You just do science. And with each update, there's a small validation effort by your team, and you've got the access to an AWS infrastructure, always secure, always giving you the option for full compliance. Compliance is always a two-way street. Zero maintenance, zero downtime. And that whole burden is lifted. Now that we've poured the rock foundation, we can build on top of it something really powerful. A single unified system that finally connects every part of your operation and ends the era of data silos. And this is it right here, the death of those islands of information. One unified platform connecting your electronic laboratory notebook, your laboratory execution systems, your scientific data management systems, and your analytics on top. All speaking the same language. And we're not just talking about the central lab either. The system, the SaaS 2.0, goes way beyond that. It connects everything. Your mobile devices, your Internet of Things sensors, and all straight through to your limbs without intervention. And get this, because there's more. It even solves the problem of old equipment. You've probably been thinking in this digital age, what about that instrument tucked in the corner that we've all been using for years, but it doesn't have a serial cable or a data point. It's just a screen. With the mobile app, we can use optical character recognition to take a screenshot, and that screen is then pushed straight in to your limbs. That's huge, right? It's brilliant. So let's make this transformation happen. The modernization roadmap. The path to get there is actually clear and manageable journey. It's designed for zero disruption to your modern daily work. And importantly, it isn't some chaotic rip everything out and start over again situation. We follow a clear roadmap that starts with carefully planning and cleaning up your old data. Then we move to a migration phase, so you don't miss a beat. A phased migration. Don't have to do everything all at once. Do it as your business is ready or the people are available. And along the way, we train and support your team. And it isn't just installing software and optimizing it. While we do this, obviously, we form a strategic partnership with your team. And then all of that responsibility now comes to us. And mate, doesn't this slide just say it all? All of the things that have gone, daily backups, encryption, security, disaster recovery, software updates, validation support. You've freed up your entire laboratory to do science, and you've hired us to do IT. All right, next, what is your payoff? So we've worked out, you've built the foundation, you're on the journey, but what's the payoff? What do you really get from this effort? Let's take a look at the actual business results. All of your labs, doesn't matter what type, doesn't matter how many, all of the data gets collected and stored in the same place on an intelligent, active ecosystem where your workflows can actually start to optimize themselves. Errors can be flagged before they become big problems. And a 30% reduction in repeat work, how does that sound? 40% increase in productivity, automation of your SOPs, sounds promising. And savings. These savings can be calculated a number of ways, but just know if you save on one recall or one repeat batch, you're going to be saving thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And that happens because for the first time, all your data is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. And what's more, reliable. This is part of the semantic backbone that we spoke about. Getting rid of these expensive on-premise servers, freeing up staff that used to maintain them, removing the constant upgrade cycle, results in your lab's total cost of ownership plummeting. You're trading huge, unpredictable capital costs for a predictable, simple operating expense. And when you put that all together, the efficiency, the cost savings, the reliable data, it all leads to one thing: a massive competitive advantage. This creates a seamless flow of data from the start of production all the way through to final release. Getting to market faster means better profitability, period. Adopting a SaaS 2.0 enterprise, your payoff is huge efficiency gains right now. And the bonus is that your business is now perfectly positioned for AI. Your operational data becomes strategic business intelligence, allowing executives to outsmart competitors with real-time insights. In the future, when you're ready, and only then, you can level up to the available technologies in AI, such as LabVantage Cortex. But it doesn't need to be a crazy leap of faith. It's a journey, and it starts with one step, building the right foundation. So the only question left is your lab ready to take the next step?